While you sleep tonight, someone somewhere in the world is making money from something they created just once. And that person can be you tomorrow morning, when you wake up to notifications of sales that happened while your eyes were closed. In the next few minutes, I will reveal exactly how ordinary people are manifesting multiple income streams that work for them 24 hours a day, without having to trade time for money, and without depending on a single salary that can disappear at any moment. And most importantly, I will show you how you can start building this system today, using only what already exists within you. Subscribe to the channel now, because every week I share real strategies for financial manifestation and mindset transformation that are changing lives around the world, and you will not want to miss any of these insights that could be exactly what was missing to unlock your abundance. There is a secret that financially free people have discovered that is rarely spoken about, openly in conventional spaces, and this secret has nothing to do with working more hours, or having a specific degree, or being born into a wealthy family, and it has everything to do with understanding a fundamental truth about how money really flows in the universe, and how you can align yourself with this natural flow of abundance that already exists around you, waiting only for you to open the correct channels to receive it. Think with me for a moment about how nature works, and you will realize that nothing in nature depends on a single source to survive and prosper, because a tree does not have just one root, but rather an entire system of roots that seek nutrients in different directions and depths. And if one source dries up, the tree continues living through the other roots. And the same principle applies to money, because when you depend on only one source of income, you are violating a natural law of abundance and placing all your security in something fragile that can break at any instant. Most people have been programmed since childhood to believe that there is only one path to earn money, and this path involves exchanging your hours of the day for a fixed salary, and waking up every day at the same time to do the same tasks, and waiting for the next Friday, as if life were just an endless wait for the weekend. And this programming is so deep that when someone talks about earning money while sleeping, the mind immediately rejects it as something impossible or exclusive to lucky or special people. But I am here to completely shatter that illusion, because the truth is that you were designed for abundance and not for scarcity. And the entire universe conspires in favor of those who understand how to co-create with it. Manifesting multiple income streams while you sleep is not magic nor luck, and it definitely is not something reserved for a chosen few. And in fact, it is the direct result of aligning your energy, your mindset, and your actions with the universal principles of abundance that have always been available to everyone, but that most never learned to access, because nobody taught this in school and nobody talks about it in everyday conversations. And that is why most of the population remains trapped in a cycle of working for money instead of making money work for them. Let us start by destroying the first and most limiting belief that is blocking your flow of abundance. And this belief is the idea that you need to work hard for every penny you earn, and that money that comes easily is not honest money. And this belief was implanted in your mind by generations of people who also believed this and who transmitted this scarcity programming as if it were an absolute truth. But the reality is that the universe does not work based on effort, but rather based on alignment. And when you are aligned with the frequency of abundance, money flows to you in ways that do not always involve intense physical effort, because you are working with the intelligence of the universe and not against it. Imagine that you are in a river, and there is a natural current flowing in a specific direction, and most people are swimming against this current, believing that the more effort they make, the farther they will go. But in reality, they are just exhausting themselves and remaining in the same place. And meanwhile, there are those people who have discovered how to align with the current and let it carry them without excessive effort. And these are the people who manifest money while they sleep, because they understood that abundance is a natural flow and not a forced conquest. Now, you may be wondering how exactly this works in practice, because theory is beautiful, but you want real and tangible results. And this is exactly what I am going to reveal now, because multiple passive income streams are created when you understand that the value you offer to the world does not need to be directly connected to your physical time, and that you can create something once, and that something can continue generating value and consequently money for you repeatedly, without you needing to be physically present each time someone benefits from what you created. Think of a musician who records a song, and this song is made available on digital platforms, and each time someone listens to that music, the musician receives a fraction of a cent, and it may seem like little. But when millions of people listen to that music repeatedly, those cents transform into thousands of dollars. And the musician does not need to sing live for each person who listens, and they created once, and their work continues generating returns continuously. And this is the power of decoupling time from money. And you do not need to be a musician or have some extraordinary talent to apply this same principle in your life. Because what really matters is understanding that you possess knowledge, experiences, perspectives, and unique skills that can be transformed into digital assets that work for you while you sleep, while you spend time with your family, while you travel, or while you do anything else that brings joy to your life. The digital era has brought an unprecedented opportunity in human history, because for the first time, any person with internet access can create and distribute value on a global scale without needing large initial investments or approval from intermediaries. And this means that you can start today building your multiple income streams using only your knowledge and your willingness to share this with the world. There are countless ways to do this, and each person will find the path that most resonates with their essence and natural talents. And some people create online courses, teaching something they have mastered, and others write digital books that sell automatically on platforms, and others create templates, tools, or resources that make other people's lives easier. And still others build communities and monetize through recurring members. And what all these forms have in common is that they involve creating something valuable once and allowing that something to be sold or used repeatedly without geographical or temporal limits. But before you run off to create your first digital product, there is something much more important that needs to happen first. And that something is the transformation of your mindset. Because you can have the best strategy in the world and the best tools available. But if your mind is still programmed for scarcity and limitation, you will self-sabotage every attempt at success, and you will find excuses and obstacles where only opportunities exist. The abundance mindset begins with the deep understanding that there is enough for everyone, and that another person's success does not diminish your chances of success. And in fact, the more successful people exist around you, the more opportunities open up for you, because prosperity attracts prosperity, and abundance generates more abundance. And when you genuinely celebrate the success of others, you are sending a clear message to the universe that you are ready to receive as well. Many people get stuck in comparison and envy when they see someone earning money while they sleep. And instead of being inspired and asking how they can do the same, they start creating mental narratives about why that is not possible for them. And they say things like, that person was lucky, or that person started with money, or that person has some special talent that I do not have. And all of these are scarcity stories that keep you stuck in the same place, because while you are focused on why you cannot, your energy is blocked and prevented from manifesting what you truly desire. The truth that needs to be told is that everything you see manifested in another person's reality first existed as an energetic possibility in the quantum field, and then materialized through aligned beliefs, consistent, thoughts, elevated emotions, and inspired actions, and you have access to exactly the same quantum field of possibilities and can manifest your own version of abundance as long as you are willing to do the necessary internal work to become the version of you that already lives that reality. This internal work is not complicated, but it requires consistency and honesty with yourself, because you need to identify all the limiting beliefs that are operating in your subconscious and replace them with expansive beliefs that support your goals. And every time you catch your mind thinking, "I cannot afford this," or "money is hard to earn," or "I am not good enough," you need to consciously interrupt that pattern and choose a different and more empowering thought. And the more you do this, the more you are reprogramming your nervous system to recognize abundance instead of scarcity. And over time, this becomes automatic, and you start to see opportunities where before you only saw problems, and you start to feel enthusiasm where before you only felt fear, and you start to take actions where before you were paralyzed by doubt. Now, let us talk about something extremely practical that you can start implementing immediately. And this is the concept of creating value before asking for money. Because many people become obsessed with the question, "How much money will I make?" even before creating something of value. And this is the wrong approach, because money is just a reflection of the value you offer to the world. And the more value you create, the more money naturally flows to you. So the correct question is not, "How much will I earn?" but rather, "How much value can I offer? And how can I make other people's lives better, easier, more joyful, more productive, or more abundant?" And when you shift the focus from receiving to giving, something magical happens, because you exit the energy of neediness that repels and enter the energy of abundance that attracts. Think of someone you admire who has built multiple income streams, and you will realize that all those streams started with that person offering something valuable and solving a real problem for a specific group of people, and then the money came as a natural consequence of that value offered, and not the other way around. And the beauty of living in the digital era is that you can test your ideas quickly, and for free or with minimal investment, because you can create content on social media sharing your knowledge and validate whether there is interest in what you have to offer, and if people are engaging with your content and asking questions and requesting more. You already have confirmation that there is demand, and then you can transform that knowledge into a digital product that deeply solves the problem of those people. The biggest mistake I see people making is waiting for everything to be perfect before starting, and they want to have the perfect website, the perfect logo, the perfect product, the perfect pitch. And while they are seeking this imaginary perfection, months pass and nothing happens. And meanwhile, other people who started imperfectly are already generating their first sales and learning, adjusting, improving, and growing. Perfection is an illusion that the ego uses to keep you in the comfort zone, because starting something new activates fear of judgment, fear of failing, fear of being seen, and the ego prefers to stay safe in invisibility than to risk being criticized. And you need to recognize that voice of the ego and gently ignore it, because on the other side of fear is exactly the life you want to live. When you finally take the first step and create your first digital product, or launch your first service, or publish your first educational content, something transforms inside you, because you exit the position of passive consumer and enter the position of active creator. And this identity shift is profound, because now you are no longer someone who only consumes what others create, and you become someone who contributes, who adds value, who is part of the global creative economy. And even if your first product generates only a few sales, or even no immediate sales, what you gained in terms of personal growth and learning is already worth all the effort, because now you know that you are capable of creating something from scratch and putting it into the world. And this knowledge completely changes your relationship with money and possibilities. Over time, you will be perfecting your offerings and understanding your audience better, and discovering what the real pains are that they want to solve and how you can help them in a unique way, and each product you create becomes more aligned and more valuable and consequently generates more financial return. And eventually you reach the point where you have multiple products or services functioning simultaneously and each one of them bringing money to your account while you are focused on creating the next thing or simply living your life. But I need to be very honest with you because I do not want to paint an unreal picture that this happens overnight without any effort at all, because the truth is that creating multiple passive income streams requires intense initial work and dedication and focus, and you will have to invest time, energy, and probably some money as well to build the foundation of your digital assets. But the fundamental difference between this work and traditional work is that this work has a compound effect. In traditional work, you exchange 1 hour for a fixed value, and when that hour ends, you need to work another hour to earn again. And it is an infinite cycle of linear exchange of time for money. But when you are building digital assets, each hour you invest today can generate returns for years or even decades. And this means you are building something that has increasing value over time, instead of just repeating the same exchange every day. And here is something that few people realize, but that is absolutely crucial, and it is that the more income streams you create, the easier it becomes to create the next one, because you develop transferable skills such as content creation, marketing, audience understanding, building automated systems, and each new project benefits from everything you learned in previous projects. So your growth curve is exponential and not linear. Imagine that your first passive income stream took 6 months to be built and start generating results. But your second stream took only 3 months because you already knew what worked and what did not work. And your third stream took only 1 month because you had templates, systems, and accumulated experience. And suddenly, you are adding new income streams in a matter of weeks because you became efficient in the creation process. And this is when abundance really starts to multiply. Another fundamental aspect of manifesting multiple income streams is understanding that you do not need to create everything alone from scratch. Because we live in an era of collaboration, and you can partner with other people who have skills complementary to yours, and together you guys can create something much larger than each would create alone. And you can also use tools and platforms that already exist and that enormously facilitate the process of creation, distribution, and monetization. There are ready-made platforms to sell online courses without you needing to build a website from scratch. And there are automation tools that send emails, manage payments, deliver digital products, all on autopilot while you sleep. And there are marketplaces where you can sell templates, graphics, photos, videos, music, and practically any type of digital file. And best of all, most of these tools have free or very affordable versions, so the initial investment is minimal. The question is no longer whether it is possible to create multiple passive income streams, because this has already been more than proven by millions of people around the world who are doing exactly that. And the real question is whether you are willing to exit the employee mindset and enter the creative entrepreneur mindset. And this change does not happen overnight because you have been conditioned for years to think a certain way. And now you need to deconstruct this programming and rebuild a new way of thinking. One of the most powerful tools for making this mindset shift is visualization, because your brain cannot differentiate between a real experience and a vividly imagined experience. And when you spend a few minutes every day visualizing your life with multiple income streams flowing to you, and feeling the emotions of freedom, security, and joy that this brings you are literally reprogramming your neural networks to recognize this reality as possible and even probable. And the more you visualize, the more your reticular activating system, which is the part of the brain responsible for filtering information, starts to notice opportunities and connections that were always there, but that you could not see because you were not tuned to that frequency. And suddenly, you are seeing possibilities everywhere and meeting the right people and finding the right resources. And everything seems to be conspiring in your favor because you changed your vibrational frequency. Gratitude is also an essential practice in this process because you cannot manifest abundance from a state of lack. And when you practice gratitude daily for what you already have, you are telling the universe, I recognize the abundance that already exists in my life, and the more you recognize, the more you receive, because the energy of gratitude is magnetically attractive, and it pulls more reasons to be grateful. Now, I want to address something that many people face when they begin this journey. And this is the fear of judgment. Because when you start creating content, or offering products, or positioning yourself as someone who has something valuable to share, inevitably you will face criticism, and not everyone will like what you do. And some people may even say negative things. And this can be scary, especially in the beginning. But here is the liberating truth, and it is that the people who criticize are generally those who are not creating anything and who are trapped in their own limitations and projecting their insecurities onto you. And their opinion has no power over you unless you give it power. And when you understand that criticism is just external noise that does not define your value or your capabilities, you free yourself to create without fear. And in fact, the fear of judgment is just a form of the ego trying to keep you small and safe, because if you do not show up, you cannot be judged, but you also cannot impact lives and cannot create abundance and cannot live your maximum potential. And the choice is yours to stay hidden and safe, but limited, or to show up and run the risk of being judged, but also have the chance to transform your life and the lives of other people. Every successful person you admire faced criticism and rejection and doubts, and each of them had to decide whether they would let those external voices control their actions, or whether they would follow their internal vision and create what they came into the world to create. And you are facing the same choice now. And what you decide today will determine where you will be. A year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Let us now talk about something very specific and practical, which is how to diversify your income streams intelligently. Because you do not want to put all your effort in one basket, and you do not want to spread yourself too thin and not be able to do anything well. And the balance is in having a primary focus and then gradually adding other streams that complement and amplify that first one. For example, if you are good at graphic design, you can start by creating templates for social media and selling on platforms like Creative Market or Etsy, and this is your first stream. And meanwhile, you can be creating free content on Instagram or YouTube, teaching design tips and building an audience, and then you can monetize that audience through partnerships, affiliates, or even launch a course teaching design. And each of these is a different stream, but all are connected to your core knowledge in design. Or if you are passionate about fitness, you can create a workout program in PDF and sell online. And you can also do online consulting for individual clients, and you can also create content on TikTok or Instagram showing exercises and attract sponsorships from supplement or fitness clothing brands. And you can also write an ebook about nutrition and sell on Amazon. And again, each stream is related, but they are different monetization channels. The key is to start with one and make it work before adding the next. Because if you try to do everything at the same time, you will get overwhelmed and will not be able to give enough attention to any, and you will end up giving up and saying it does not work. But the truth is that it works for those who have focus and consistency. And speaking of consistency, this is probably the most important characteristic for manifesting multiple income streams, because you will not see immediate results, and there will be days when it seems like nothing is working and you will want to give up and return to the security of traditional employment. But if you keep showing up, persisting, creating, improving, eventually you will reach the inflection point where everything starts to multiply. Think of an exponential growth curve that in the beginning is almost flat, and you are working a lot, but seeing little return, and many people give up in this flat phase, thinking it is not working. But if you endure and continue, suddenly the curve starts to rise and faster, and this is when you realize that all that initial effort was building the foundation for the explosive growth that comes after. I also want to talk about the importance of reinvesting part of your initial earnings back into your business, because many people, when they start earning the first dollars from their passive income streams, spend everything on things that do not add value and then get stuck at the same level. But if you take a percentage, let us say 30% of your earnings, and reinvest in better tools, in education, in ads, in partnerships, you exponentially accelerate your growth. It is like planting a fruit tree, and when it starts to give the first fruits, you take some seeds from those fruits and plant more trees, and in a short time, you no longer have one tree, but rather an entire orchard, producing fruit abundantly. And this is the power of intelligent reinvestment that multiplies your results over time. Another thing I want you to deeply understand is that manifesting multiple income streams is not about greed or accumulating money for the sake of accumulating. And it is about freedom. And it is about having options. And it is about not depending on a single company or person for your survival. And it is about being able to choose how you spend your time, and with whom you spend your time, and where you live, and how you live. When you have multiple income streams, you do not wake up in the middle of the night worried about the possibility of being fired, because even if one stream decreases or disappears, you have others sustaining you. And this brings a peace of mind that is impossible to have when you depend on only one salary. And this peace of mind is priceless because it affects your health, your relationships, your creativity, and your overall quality of life. And there is also the aspect of contribution, because when you are not trapped in a cycle of exchanging all your hours for money, you have time and energy to contribute in ways that really matter. And you can volunteer for causes you love, and you can spend more time with your family, and you can invest in your personal and spiritual growth, and you can help other people find their own path to abundance. Real abundance is not just about how many zeros are in your bank account, and it is about how much freedom you have to live aligned with your values and purpose. And when you manifest multiple income streams, you are creating that freedom for yourself and automatically inspiring others around you to do the same. Now, I want to share something I learned by observing people who truly mastered the art of creating passive income, and it is that all of them have systems and not just ideas. And the difference between an idea and a system is that the idea is just the beginning, but the system is what transforms that idea into predictable and replicable results. A system can be as simple as a sequence of automated emails that educate, nurture, and sell to new subscribers on your list. Or it can be a sales funnel that takes people from free content to an entry product and then to higher ticket products. And the point is that you create the system once, and then it runs by itself, bringing consistent results. And the beauty of systems is that they remove you from the daily operational process, because once it is configured and tested, you do not need to be present for each sale to happen. And the system does the work of qualifying, educating, and converting while you are doing other things. And this is the true essence of earning money while you sleep. Of course, you still need to do maintenance and improvements on your systems periodically, But the amount of time you invest after the system is running is minimal compared to the return it generates, and this frees your time to create new systems and new income streams, and thus the cycle of abundance perpetuates itself. Let us also talk about mindfulness and presence, because there is an interesting paradox in seeking multiple income streams, and it is that if you are constantly anxious and worried and forcing results, you create resistance and block the flow. But if you are present, relaxed, and confident while taking consistent actions, you allow things to flow naturally and results arrive with much more ease. This is the difference between inspired action and desperate action. And inspired action comes from a place of abundance and confidence, and you are doing it because you feel it is the next right step, and not because you are desperate for money. And ironically, when you act from this place of confidence, results come much faster because your energy is clean and attractive. On the other hand, desperate action comes from a place of fear and lack, and you are doing it because you think you need to force things to happen. And this energy repels opportunities and creates more struggle and difficulty. And you may be working hard, but results do not come because your vibration is misaligned with what you want to manifest. So part of the process of manifesting multiple income streams is learning to relax and trust, and know that when you are aligned and taking the right actions, the universe conspires to bring the right results at the right time. And this does not mean being passive and doing nothing, and it means doing your part with excellence and then releasing the attachment to the specific outcome and trusting the process. Another important thing is to celebrate each small victory along the way, because the journey to financial abundance is not a straight line, and there are ups and downs, and if you only allow yourself to celebrate when you reach the final goal, you will spend most of the time frustrated and unmotivated. But if you celebrate each new subscription, each new follower, each first sale, each positive feedback, each small milestone, you keep your energy high, and this attracts more reasons to celebrate. Celebration is not just a good feeling, and it is a manifestation tool, because when you celebrate, you are sending a signal to your subconscious that good things are happening, and you deserve to receive more. And this creates a positive cycle of attraction where the more you celebrate, the more you have to celebrate. And please do not fall into the trap of comparing your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20, because that will only bring frustration and discouragement, and each person has their own journey and their own timing. And what matters is not where others are, but rather whether you are progressing in relation to where you were yesterday, last week, last month, if you are doing more today than you were doing before, if you are learning, growing, developing, then you are on the right path, and the rest is just a matter of time and consistency, and comparison steals your joy and your energy and puts you in a race that has no finish line, because there will always be someone further ahead in some metric. Focus on your own lane and your own race, and do the best you can with the resources you have now, knowing that the more you grow, the more resources you will have access to, and thus the cycle expands naturally. Now I want to address something that is often neglected but absolutely vital, and this is taking care of your physical, emotional, and spiritual energy while you build your multiple income streams, because you can have all the correct strategies. But if you are exhausted, sick, or emotionally drained, you will not be able to sustain the effort necessary to create something lasting. This means sleeping well, eating nutritious foods, exercising regularly, meditating, or having some spiritual practice that keeps you centered. And it also means establishing healthy boundaries and not working until exhaustion, thinking that the more hours you work, the faster you will get there, because the truth is that quality matters much more than quantity, and a few hours of focused and inspired work are worth more than entire days of scattered and forced work. And when you take care of yourself, you are sending a message to the universe that you value yourself and that you deserve abundance. And this changes your vibration and attracts experiences and opportunities that reflect this elevated self-worth. It is also fundamental to have an environment that supports your goals. Because if you are surrounded by negative people who constantly doubt you and criticize your ambitions, this will drain your energy and undermine your confidence. But if you surround yourself with people who are on the same path, or who have already achieved what you seek, this will elevate you and inspire you and remind you of what is possible. And when you are in an environment that supports your growth, everything becomes easier because you are not constantly fighting against negativity and doubt. And instead, you are being lifted by positive energy and mutual encouragement. And this makes all the difference in maintaining momentum and persisting through challenges. I also want to talk about the importance of learning from those who have already walked the path you want to walk, because you do not need to reinvent the wheel. And there are people who have already made the mistakes, learned the lessons, and discovered what works and what does not work. And by learning from them, you can shortcut your journey significantly and avoid wasting time and resources on things that do not work. This does not mean copying someone exactly because your path will be unique to you, but it means being humble enough to recognize that you do not know everything and that others have valuable insights that can help you. And this could be through books, courses, mentorship, programs, communities, or simply following and studying people you admire and seeing what they do differently. One thing I have noticed about people who successfully create multiple income streams is that they are all lifelong learners, and they never stop educating themselves and improving their skills, and they see every investment in their own growth as the best investment they can make. Because when you grow, your capacity to create value grows, and consequently, your income grows. And learning does not always have to cost money, because there is an abundance of free content available online, and you can learn almost anything if you are willing to search for it and dedicate time to study it. And the only thing that separates you from the knowledge you need is your willingness to seek it and apply it. Another crucial element is taking action despite imperfection, because you will never feel completely ready, and you will never have all the answers. And if you wait until you feel ready, you will be waiting forever. And the people who succeed are not necessarily smarter or more talented than you, and they are simply the ones who took action when they did not feel ready and figured things out along the way. There is tremendous power in momentum, because once you start moving, things that seemed impossible suddenly become possible, and doors that seemed closed suddenly open, and opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. And all of this happens not because the external world changed, but because you changed, and your energy changed, and your actions changed, and the universe responds to that. I want you to really understand that you are not separate from the abundance you seek, and you are not here trying to get something that is outside of you, and the abundance is already within you, waiting to be expressed. And when you align with this truth and act from this place of inner knowing, everything shifts. The money you want to manifest is not in the future, waiting for you to reach some destination, and it exists right now in the quantum field of possibilities. And your job is to tune into the frequency where that reality already exists and embody the version of you who already has what you desire. And when you do this consistently, the physical reality rearranges itself to match your inner state. This might sound abstract, but it is actually very practical, because every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is either moving you closer to that reality or further from it. And when you become conscious of this, you gain tremendous power, because you can deliberately choose thoughts, words, and actions that align with abundance instead of unconsciously perpetuating patterns that keep you stuck. And this is where most people fail, because they want the external results to change first, and then they will feel abundant, and then they will think abundant thoughts, and then they will take abundant actions. But that is backwards, and you need to think, feel, and act as the abundant version of you first, and then the external reality will follow. This requires faith, because you are stepping into the unknown, and you do not have proof yet that it will work, and you have to trust in something that you cannot see with your physical eyes yet. And this is uncomfortable for most people, because we have been trained to only believe what we can see and measure. But the truth is that everything that exists in physical form first existed in invisible form as energy, frequency, vibration, thought. So when you are building multiple income streams, you are not just doing practical tasks like creating products and marketing them, and you are also working with energy, and you are managing your vibration, and you are directing your focus, and you are choosing your beliefs, and all of this invisible work is just as important as the visible work, because it is what determines whether you succeed or give up halfway. Now let me talk about something that might be challenging to hear, but it is important, and that is that you will face obstacles, setbacks, failures along this journey, and there will be moments when you want to quit, when you doubt yourself, when you wonder if you made a mistake. And these moments are not signs that you should give up, and they are tests to see how committed you really are to your vision. Every successful person has faced these moments, and the only difference between those who succeed and those who do not is that the successful ones kept going despite the difficulty, and they saw obstacles as temporary challenges to overcome rather than permanent roadblocks. And they used failures as learning opportunities rather than evidence of their inadequacy. And this is where having a strong why becomes essential, because when things get tough, and they will, your why is what keeps you going. And if your why is just to make money, that might not be strong enough, because money alone is rarely a powerful enough motivator to sustain you through real challenges. But if your why is about freedom, or providing for your family, or making an impact, or living your purpose, then that deeper motivation will carry you through the difficult times. I encourage you to get crystal clear on your why, and write it down, and remind yourself of it daily, because this will be your anchor when the storms come. And when you are connected to a purpose bigger than yourself, you become unstoppable, because you are no longer doing this just for you, and you are doing it for something that matters deeply to you. Let me also address the topic of money blocks, because almost everyone has them, and these are subconscious beliefs about money that limit your ability to receive and manifest it. And common money blocks include beliefs like money does not grow on trees, you have to work hard for money, rich people are greedy, money is the root of all evil, I do not deserve to be wealthy, and countless others. These beliefs were typically formed in childhood, based on what you heard your parents say about money, or what you observed about how money functioned in your family. And even if you consciously want to be wealthy, if your subconscious believes that money is bad or hard to get, or that you do not deserve it, then you will unconsciously sabotage your efforts to create it. The good news is that these beliefs can be changed, and the first step is becoming aware of them. And you can do this by paying attention to your automatic thoughts about money and noticing what comes up when you think about earning more, or charging for your services, or receiving large sums of money, and whatever resistance or negative thoughts arise are clues to your underlying beliefs. Once you identify these limiting beliefs, you can actively work to replace them with empowering beliefs. And this is done through repetition, affirmations, visualization, and most importantly, through taking actions that contradict the old belief. Because when you act as if the new belief is true, your brain starts to accept it as true. For example, if you have a belief that you are not good enough to charge high prices, you can deliberately raise your prices and see what happens. And usually what happens is that people still buy, and you realize the old belief was just a story and not a fact. And this experiential evidence is more powerful than any amount of positive thinking. Alone. I also want to talk about the concept of energetic exchange, because money is simply energy, and when you provide value to someone and they pay you money, there is an exchange of energy happening. And this exchange needs to be balanced for both parties to feel good about it. And if you undercharge, you are creating an imbalanced exchange, and you will feel resentful. And if you overcharge without delivering adequate value, the customer will feel cheated. So part of building sustainable multiple income streams is ensuring that every exchange you create is fair and balanced, and that you are providing genuine value that is worth what you are charging. And when you do this, people feel good about paying you, and they come back and they refer others, and your business grows naturally through positive word of mouth. This is also why it is so important to come from a place of service rather than selfishness. And when your primary motivation is genuinely helping people and solving their problems, the money follows naturally, because people can feel your intention, and they trust you, and they want to support you. And on the other hand, if you are just trying to extract money from people without caring about their well-being, they can feel that too, and they will not buy from you. Or if they do, they will not be satisfied. So always lead with value. Always prioritize serving your audience and solving real problems for them. And trust that when you do this consistently and excellently, the financial rewards will come as a natural byproduct of the value you have created. Another aspect of manifesting multiple income streams that is often overlooked is the importance of systems and automation, because you cannot scale if everything depends on you personally doing it. And if you have to manually fulfill every order, manually respond to every email, manually do every task, then you are still trading time for money, just in a slightly different form. True passive income comes from setting up systems that run automatically, or that can be managed by others, so that you can step away, and the income continues flowing. And this might include things like automated email sequences, automated product delivery, hiring virtual assistants using scheduling software, setting up payment processors that handle transactions automatically, and countless other tools and systems that remove you from the day-to-day operations. Initially, you will be very hands-on, and you will need to do everything yourself to learn how it works and to dial in your processes. But as soon as you can, you should start systematizing and automating and delegating, because this is how you free up your time to create more income streams or simply to enjoy your life. And when you do this successfully, you create true freedom, because you are no longer bound to your business, and your business serves you rather than you serving it. And this is the ultimate goal of creating multiple passive income streams, not just to make more money, but to design a life of freedom where you have control over your time and choices. Let me share something that might be counterintuitive, and it is that abundance is not just about addition, but also about subtraction. And what I mean by this is that sometimes the path to greater abundance involves letting go of things that are not serving you, rather than just adding more and more. This could mean saying no to opportunities that do not align with your vision, even if they could make you money, because those misaligned opportunities will drain your energy and distract you from what really matters. And it could mean letting go of relationships that are toxic or draining, because they lower your vibration and make it harder to manifest what you want. And it could mean releasing old identities or ways of being that no longer serve the person you are becoming. There is power in discernment and selectivity, and not everything that comes your way is meant for you. And learning to recognize what is aligned and what is not, and having the courage to say no to what is not aligned, is a crucial skill for creating sustainable abundance. This ties back to energy management, because you have a finite amount of time and energy, and how you allocate that determines your results. And if you are scattered and trying to do too many things, or saying yes to everything, or surrounding yourself with people who drain you, then you will not have the focus and energy needed to build something substantial. But if you are intentional and selective and protective of your time and energy, and you only engage with opportunities and people and activities that truly align with your highest vision, then you concentrate your power and you move much faster toward your goals. I also want to encourage you to think long-term rather than short-term, because building real wealth and multiple income streams is not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it is a long-term game that rewards patience, consistency, and delayed gratification. And those who are willing to play the long game are the ones who ultimately win big, because they understand that small actions compounded over time create extraordinary results. Whereas those who are looking for quick wins often jump from opportunity to opportunity, never building anything substantial and always starting over. Think about it, like building a garden where you cannot plant seeds today and expect to harvest tomorrow, because there is a natural growth cycle that must be respected. And if you keep digging up your seeds to check if they are growing, you will actually prevent them from growing. But if you plant them, water them consistently, provide the right conditions, and then trust the process, eventually you will have an abundant harvest. And the same principle applies to income streams. Your first income stream might take months to generate meaningful revenue, but during that time you are learning skills, building an audience, creating systems, and developing expertise that will make your second and third streams much faster to build. And eventually you reach a point where you have multiple mature streams all producing income simultaneously. And the cumulative effect is far greater than any single stream could ever be. This is the power of patience and persistence, and it is one of the rarest qualities in today's instant gratification culture, where everyone wants results immediately and is unwilling to put in the consistent effort over time. But if you can cultivate this quality of patient persistence, you will have an enormous advantage over most people who give up too soon. Now, I want to talk about something that might feel uncomfortable but is incredibly important, and that is investing in yourself and your education, because you cannot create what you do not know how to create. And if you have never built a digital product or marketed anything or created automated systems, then you need to learn these skills. And the fastest way to learn is to invest in quality education from people who have already achieved what you want to achieve. Many people resist this because they think they should be able to figure everything out for free, or they view education as an expense rather than an investment. But the reality is that the right course or mentor or program can compress years of trial and error into months of focused learning, and the return on that investment is exponential when you apply what you learn. Of course, you need to be discerning, because not all educational products are created equal, and there are plenty of scams and low-quality offerings out there. But when you find legitimate high-quality education from someone with real results and real expertise, the investment pays for itself many times over through the results you create. And investing in yourself is not just about formal education, but also about investing in your health, your well-being, your personal development, your spiritual growth, because all of these affect your capacity to create and manifest. And when you are operating at your highest level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you become a powerful creator and manifester. Think of yourself as your most valuable asset because you are. And every dollar you invest in improving yourself, in upgrading your skills, in healing your blocks, in expanding your capacity is a dollar that will return to you, multiplied because you are the source of all your income streams, and the better you become, the more value you can create, and the more abundance flows to you. I also want to address the importance of integrity in building your income streams, because shortcuts and unethical tactics might produce quick results, but they are not sustainable, and they will eventually backfire. And when you build your business on a foundation of integrity, honesty, transparency, and genuine care for your customers, you create something solid that lasts and grows over time. This means being honest about what your products can and cannot do, and not making exaggerated claims or false promises. And it means delivering on what you say you will deliver, and going above and beyond to ensure customer satisfaction. And it means treating people with respect and kindness even when they are difficult. And it means doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Integrity is not just a moral virtue, but a practical business strategy. Because people can sense authenticity, and they gravitate toward it. And in a world full of scams and manipulation and empty promises, being someone who is genuinely trustworthy and reliable is a massive competitive advantage. And people will not only buy from you, but they will become advocates who tell others about you. And this organic word of mouth is the most powerful marketing that exists. When you operate with integrity, you also feel good about what you are doing, and this internal alignment is essential for sustaining your efforts long-term. Because if you are doing things that feel wrong or that compromise your values, you will eventually burn out or self-sabotage. But when you are in alignment, you have endless energy and enthusiasm because you are living in accordance with your truth. Let me also talk about the importance of giving back and contribution, because abundance is not meant to be hoarded, but rather to flow through you. And when you reach a point where you are generating more than you need, there is tremendous fulfillment in using your resources to help others and to contribute to causes you care about. This could be through charitable donations, or through mentoring others who are earlier in the journey, or through creating free content that helps people, or through any number of ways that you use your abundance to make a positive impact. And the beautiful thing about giving is that it reinforces your abundance mindset, because you are demonstrating to yourself and to the universe that you have more than enough. And this feeling of having more than enough attracts even more abundance. There is a spiritual principle here that what you give, you receive. And when you give freely and generously, without expectation of return, you open yourself to receive from unexpected sources and in unexpected ways. And this is not about giving in order to get, but rather about giving from a genuine place of overflow and gratitude. And when you do this, the universe responds in kind. I want to take a moment to talk about failure, because it is inevitable on this journey, and you will launch things that do not work, and you will create products that do not sell, and you will invest time and energy in directions that turn out to be dead ends. And all of this is completely normal and part of the process. And the question is not whether you will fail, but rather how you will respond when you do. Those who succeed are those who see failure as feedback rather than as a reflection of their worth. And they ask questions like, what can I learn from this? Or what would I do differently next time? Or how can I use this experience to improve? Rather than telling themselves stories like, I am not good enough, or this will never work for me, or I should just give up. Failure is simply data, and it tells you what does not work so that you can adjust your approach and try something different. And every successful entrepreneur has a long list of failures behind them, but they do not focus on the failures, and They focus on the lessons and the growth and the eventual successes that came as a result of persisting through the failures. So give yourself permission to fail and to make mistakes and to not have all the answers, because this is how you learn and grow. And if you are not failing occasionally, it probably means you are not taking enough risks or pushing yourself enough. And some of the best opportunities come from taking risks that do not have guaranteed outcomes. Another important mindset shift is moving from scarcity to abundance in how you view competition, because many people see others in their niche as threats, and they worry that if someone else succeeds, there will be less for them. But this is scarcity thinking, and the truth is that the marketplace is vast and there is room for everyone. And in fact, the success of others in your niche actually validates that. There is demand and proves that people are willing to pay for solutions in that area. Rather than seeing others as competition, see them as colleagues and potential collaborators, because there are opportunities to partner, to cross-promote, to learn from each other, and to support each other. And when you approach your field with this collaborative abundance mindset, you will find that doors open and opportunities arise that would never be available to someone operating from scarcity and competition. Plus, different people resonate with different teachers and approaches. So just because someone else is teaching the same topic does not mean they are stealing your customers, because the people who are meant to work with you will be attracted to your unique voice and style and perspective. And there is no one else exactly like you. So you have something unique to offer that no one else can replicate. This brings me to the importance of authenticity and showing up as your true self, rather than trying to imitate others, because in a world full of copycats, authenticity stands out, and people are hungry for real, genuine, human connection. And when you show up authentically, sharing your real struggles and victories and perspectives, you create a deep connection with your audience that cannot be replicated by someone who is just copying a formula. Yes, you can learn strategies and frameworks from others, but you need to filter them through your own unique lens and personality, and you need to share your own stories and examples, and you need to let your personality shine through, because that is what makes you memorable and relatable and trustworthy. Many people hide behind a facade because they think they need to appear perfect or polished or like they have it all figured out. But actually, the opposite is true. And people connect with vulnerability and realness. And when you are willing to share, not just your successes, but also your challenges and your journey, people see themselves in you and they trust you more. Of course, there is a balance here, and you do not need to share every intimate detail of your life, but being willing to be real and human and imperfect makes you far more relatable than trying to project an image of perfection that no one can relate to. I also want to emphasize the importance of taking care of your mental health throughout this journey, because entrepreneurship and building multiple income streams can be stressful, and there will be highs and lows, and it is important to have practices and support systems in place to help you navigate the emotional roller coaster. This might include therapy, or coaching, or meditation, or journaling, or exercise, or spending time in nature, or whatever helps you process emotions and stay grounded. And it is not a sign of weakness to need support. And in fact, the most successful people are those who actively invest in their mental and emotional well-being, because they understand that their inner state directly impacts their outer results. When you are anxious, depressed, or burnt out, it is very difficult to show up and create and serve at your highest level. But when you are centered, peaceful, and energized, you naturally perform better and attract better opportunities and create better outcomes. So taking care of your mental health is not a luxury, but a necessity for sustainable success. Let me talk now about the concept of leveraging other people's audiences, because when you are starting out, you typically have a small audience, or no audience, and it can take a long time to build an audience from scratch. But if you can get in front of other people's established audiences, you can shortcut this process significantly. This could be through guest posting on popular blogs, or being interviewed on podcasts, or doing joint ventures with people who have complementary offerings, or speaking at events or conferences, or any number of ways to expose your message and your offers to people who are already interested in your topic. The key is to provide genuine value to that audience, so that the person who owns the audience is happy to have you, and their audience appreciates you and wants to learn more about you. And when you do this well, you can gain hundreds or thousands of new followers or customers from a single guest appearance, and this leverage is incredibly powerful. Of course, you need to build relationships with these influencers and podcast hosts and event organizers, and this takes time and genuine relationship building, but when you approach it from a place of how can I serve and add value, rather than what can I get, this becomes much easier, and people are generally happy to share their platform with someone who is adding value to their audience. Another form of leverage is creating evergreen content that continues to attract people to you long after you create it. And this could be blog posts that rank in search engines, or YouTube videos that get recommended, or social media posts that get shared widely, or any content that has a long shelf life and continues working for you months or years after you publish it. When you create this type of evergreen content, you are essentially building a library of assets that work for you around the clock, attracting new people to your world. And some of them will naturally become customers. And this is another form of passive income generation, where the work you do once continues to produce results indefinitely. This is different from content that is timely or trendy, which might get a lot of attention in the moment, but then quickly becomes irrelevant. And both types of content have their place, but if you want to build long-term sustainable traffic and audience growth, you need to focus primarily on evergreen content that will remain valuable for years. Now, I want to address something that stops many people, and that is the belief that their idea has already been done, or that the market is too saturated and they think there is no point in creating another course or product or service in their niche, because so many already exist. But this is faulty thinking, because first of all, if many people are doing it, that proves there is demand, and secondly, you have a unique perspective and approach that no one else has. Think about how many restaurants exist, and yet new restaurants open every day and become successful, because even though they serve the same basic thing, which is food, each one has a unique atmosphere, menu, and personality, and customers choose based on what resonates with them. And the same applies to information products and services, where customers choose based on who they connect with and whose teaching style works for them. So do not let the existence of competition stop you, because it actually validates your idea. And your job is not to be the first or the only, but rather to be the best version of yourself and to serve your specific audience in your unique way. And there are more than enough people in the world for everyone to have their own thriving business. I also want to talk about pricing, because this is something many people struggle with, and they undercharge because they do not feel confident enough to charge what they are worth, or they worry that no one will buy if the price is too high. But undercharging is actually a disservice to yourself and to your customers, because when something is too cheap, people do not value it as much, and they are less likely to implement and get results. There is a psychological principle that people value what they pay for, and if something is free or very cheap, they tend not to take it seriously. But if they invest a significant amount, they are motivated to get their money's worth, and they actually engage more deeply and get better results. So charging appropriately is actually serving your customers better. Of course, you need to deliver value that matches your price. But if you are confident in the transformation you provide, then you should charge accordingly. And remember that people are not paying for your time or your content, and they are paying for the result and the transformation they will experience. And if your product or service can help someone make more money or save time or solve a painful problem, then it is worth far more than what it costs you to deliver. Do not fall into the trap of comparing your prices to what it costs to produce, because that is not how value works. And a piece of software might cost almost nothing to deliver one more copy, but it could save someone hundreds of hours and therefore be worth thousands of dollars. And the value is in the result, not in the cost of delivery. As you build your multiple income streams, you will also want to think about creating different price points so that you have offerings for people at different stages and with different budgets. And this might include a low-cost entry product that allows people to try you out with minimal risk, and then mid-tier products, and then high-end offerings for those who want more personalized support or more comprehensive solutions. This tiered approach allows you to serve more people and also to maximize the lifetime value of each customer, because someone might start with your low-cost product. And if they get results and enjoy working with you, they naturally want more, and they upgrade to your higher-tier offerings. And this creates a natural ascension path that benefits both you and your customers. I want to take a moment to talk about patience again, because I cannot emphasize this enough. And we live in a world of instant gratification, where people expect immediate results. And if they do not see success in the first few weeks or months, they give up and move on to the next thing. But building real wealth and real income streams takes time, and the people who succeed are simply those who do not quit. There is a quote that says, "Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And this is so true because big transformations do not happen overnight, but they absolutely happen over time with consistent effort. And if you can commit to this path for the long haul and trust that your efforts are compounding even when you cannot see immediate results, then you will eventually look back and be amazed at how far you have come." Think about where you want to be 5 years from now and ask yourself what actions, if taken consistently over the next 5 years, would get you there. And then just do those actions day after day, month after month, year after year. And do not worry about whether you are seeing results yet, because you are building momentum, and momentum is invisible at first, but eventually it becomes unstoppable. Another key to success is learning to manage your energy and your focus, because you can be busy all day and accomplish nothing if you are working on the wrong things or if you are distracted and scattered. And the most successful people are extremely intentional about what they focus on, and they protect their time and attention fiercely because they know that focus is their most valuable resource. This means learning to say no to distractions, to time wasters, to energy drains, and saying yes only to the activities that directly move you toward your goals. And it means batching similar tasks together so you can work more efficiently. And it means eliminating or delegating tasks that do not require your unique skills. And it means creating routines and systems that reduce decision fatigue and keep you in a productive flow state. When you master your focus and energy management, you can accomplish in a few focused hours what would take others days of scattered effort. And this efficiency allows you to build faster and create more, and still have time and energy left for the other important areas of your life. Let me also talk about the importance of testing and iterating, because you will not get everything right on the first try. And that is completely okay. And the goal is not perfection, but rather progress and improvement. And you launch something, see how it performs, gather feedback, make adjustments, and launch again, and each iteration gets better. and over time you end up with something truly excellent. This is why taking action is so important, even when things are not perfect, because you learn far more from putting something out into the world and seeing how people respond than you ever could from endlessly planning and theorizing, and the market will tell you what works and what does not, if you are willing to listen and adjust. Many people are afraid to launch because they do not want to fail publicly. But the truth is that everyone who has succeeded has failed publicly many times. And those failures are just part of the journey, and the people who care about you will respect you for trying. And the people who criticize are not your people anyway. So their opinions do not matter. I want to talk about creating content consistently, because this is one of the most powerful ways to build trust and authority, and to attract your ideal customers. And when you show up regularly with valuable content, you stay top of mind with your audience, and you demonstrate your expertise, and you build a relationship over time that makes selling natural and easy. The key is consistency, not perfection, and it is better to publish something good every week than to try to make something perfect and only publish once a month, because frequency matters, and your audience needs to see you regularly to remember you and trust you. And when you disappear for long periods, you lose momentum and you have to rebuild that connection. Choose a content format that you enjoy and that comes naturally to you, whether that is writing or video or audio or images, and then commit to a schedule that you can sustain long-term and stick to it no matter what, because this consistency compounds over time. And eventually, you will have a massive library of content that attracts people to you around the clock. Your content should be designed to serve your audience first and sell second. And when you lead with value and genuinely try to help people, they naturally want more from you, and they become customers almost effortlessly because they already know, like, and trust you from all the free value you have provided. And this is a much more effective and enjoyable way to market than trying to convince strangers to buy from you. Let me also address the importance of building an email list, because social media platforms come and go, and algorithms change, and accounts get deleted, but your email list is an asset you own and control, and it is one of the most valuable assets you can build, because these are people who have raised their hand and said, "Yes, I want to hear from you," and they give you permission to reach them directly. Every piece of content you create should have a call to action inviting people to join your email list in exchange for something valuable. And this could be a free guide or checklist or video training or resource of some kind. And once someone is on your list, you can nurture that relationship over time through valuable emails, and eventually some percentage of those subscribers will become customers. The money is in the list, as they say, because you can send an email to your list at any time and generate sales without having to rely on social media algorithms or paid advertising, and this gives you tremendous power and control over your income. And the bigger your list grows, the more income you can generate with each promotion. Of course, you need to treat your list well and provide value regularly, and not just pitch constantly or people will unsubscribe, but when you find the right balance of value and offers, your email list becomes one of your most profitable assets. I also want to encourage you to think about creating recurring revenue streams where possible, because one-time sales are great, but recurring revenue is even better because it creates predictable income that you can count on month after month. And this could be through membership sites or subscription products or retainer clients or any business model where customers pay you regularly rather than just once. Recurring revenue creates stability and allows you to plan and invest with confidence because you know approximately how much money will be coming in each month. And it also increases the lifetime value of each customer dramatically because instead of making one sale, you are making 12 sales per year or more. and this makes your business much more valuable and sustainable. Of course, you need to continually deliver value to justify the recurring payment. But when you do this, well, people are happy to continue paying because they are getting ongoing value. And this creates a win-win situation where customers get consistent support and results, and you get consistent, predictable income. Now, I want to talk about the power of community, because humans are social beings and we thrive in connection with others. And when you build a community around your brand or your mission, you create something much more powerful than just a transactional relationship. And people become emotionally invested in your success and in each other. And this creates loyalty and advocacy that money cannot buy. A community can be as simple as a Facebook group or a Discord server or a forum on your website, where your customers and followers can connect with each other and with you. And when people find their tribe and feel a sense of belonging, they become raving fans who tell everyone about you. And this organic word of mouth is the most powerful marketing that exists. Communities also provide valuable feedback and ideas and support, and you can learn so much from listening to your community and seeing what they struggle with and what they want more of. And this insight allows you to create better products and serve them better and grow your business in alignment with their needs. Building a community does require effort and moderation and facilitation, but the return on that investment is enormous, because a thriving community becomes a self-sustaining asset that adds value to everyone involved and makes your business infinitely more enjoyable and fulfilling. Let me also talk about the importance of tracking your numbers, because you cannot improve what you do not measure. And while the creative aspects of building income streams are exciting, you also need to pay attention to the metrics and the data, because they tell you what is working and what is not. This means tracking things like traffic sources, conversion rates, customer acquisition costs, lifetime value revenue per product, and any other metrics that are relevant to your business. And when you look at these numbers regularly, you can spot trends and identify problems early and make data-driven decisions rather than just guessing. Many creative people resist this analytical side of business, but it is essential for scaling and optimizing. And the good news is that there are tools that make tracking easy, and you do not need to be a math genius to understand the basic metrics that matter. And once you start paying attention to your numbers, you will be amazed at how much clarity you gain about where to focus your efforts for maximum return. Numbers do not lie, and they will show you clearly which marketing channels are working, which products are selling, which content is resonating, and which activities are wasting your time. And when you have this clarity, you can double down on what works and eliminate what does not. And this focused approach accelerates your growth dramatically. I want to talk now about the concept of abundance overflow, where you have created so much value and income that it naturally spills over into other areas of your life, and you can afford to be generous with your time, your money, your knowledge, and your resources. And this is where life becomes truly fulfilling, because you are not just surviving or even just thriving, but you are overflowing and lifting others as you rise. This is the ultimate goal of manifesting multiple income streams, not just to accumulate wealth for its own sake, but to create a life of freedom, contribution, and impact, where you have the resources to do what matters most to you and to help others do the same. And when you reach this place, you realize that abundance was never about the money itself, but about what the money allows you to be and do and give. And the beautiful thing is that this overflow state is available to anyone who is willing to do the inner and outer work required to get there, and it is not reserved for a lucky few or for people with special advantages. And it is simply the natural result of aligning with abundance principles, taking consistent action, serving others with excellence and persisting through challenges. So as you build your multiple income streams, keep this bigger vision in mind and remember why you started, and let that vision pull you forward through the difficult moments and celebrate every step of progress along the way. Because you are creating something remarkable, and you are becoming someone remarkable in the process. I want to close by reminding you that everything you need to succeed is already within you, and you do not need to become someone different or acquire some special talent or wait for perfect conditions, and you simply need to start where you are with what you have and take the next logical step, and then the next, and then the next, and trust that the path will unfold as you walk it. The universe responds to action. And when you take that first step toward building your income streams, you set forces in motion that you cannot even see yet, and doors will open, connections will form, opportunities will appear, and what seemed impossible will suddenly seem inevitable, and all because you decided to believe in yourself and take action despite your fears and doubts. You are capable of manifesting multiple income streams that generate money while you sleep, and you are worthy of financial abundance and freedom. And the life you dream of is not only possible, but probable, if you commit to this path and stay consistent. And this is not about getting lucky or being in the right place at the right time. And this is about deliberately creating your reality through conscious choice, aligned action, and unwavering faith in your ability to succeed. So I invite you to make the decision right now that you are all in on this journey, and that you will do whatever it takes to build the financial freedom you desire, and that you will not let fear or doubt or obstacles stop you, and that you will keep showing up, keep learning, keep growing, keep creating, until you have manifested the abundant life that is your birthright. And if you found value in this message, subscribe to this channel right now, because I am here to support you on this journey with weekly insights, strategies, and inspiration to help you manifest the abundance you deserve. And together, we are creating a community of conscious creators who are building wealth with integrity and using that wealth to make the world a better place. And I would be honored to have you as part of this movement. So click that subscribe button and let us continue this journey together toward the financial freedom and abundant life that awaits you.